Hey, Bob, I'm back.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, nothing much, just getting the rest of the things picked up. I see you got busy while I was gone. What have you been up to?
Building a rabbit cage.
Oh, wow. You have been super busy.
Yeah. Women and shopping, it takes a while.
Hey, you're right there sometimes. Well, you've already got, what, 3 sides of it put together?
I got 3 sides put together and I'm putting one of the partitions in there.
Oh, wow. How long is this?
A little over 9 feet. None of these rolls are exactly, so I'm gonna have to put 3 sides together with the partitions and one end, and then I can trim the other end to fit. Because every roll of wire is a different length. No matter if you buy it when it says 10 feet long, it's different.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and half the squares don't match up, so you gotta pull and tug a little bit to get it to match up.
Wow. I'm glad you know how to do this. I'm really excited to be getting rabbits.
Well, I had them as a kid, so I learned how to build them then.
Oh, how many cages have you built?
Over the years, 40 or 50.
Wow.
Dad had a lot of rabbits. He kept at least 130 at a time.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
I'm just clipping the partition in right now. Then I can fold the sides up and clip the sides up.
How do you do that?
Well, you measure how wide the wire is, then you cut it just a tad bit longer, because like I said, none of them are equal. And then when you fold it together before you put the top on, then you make them all equal.
Okay, how do you clip the little things on there?
Well, you just stick it in the pliers, reach over here and roll it around, make sure it's on both wires, and then just squeeze it. That's it.
Okay, are you putting it in every one or every other one?
On the corners, each way I put 3, and then I put it every other one after that.
Okay, that way it should be nice and secure.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, everybody does it their own way. Everybody's got their own way of making things. This is just the way I learned them as a kid. So that's how I do them.
Okay, are you going to put this on any kind of a stand or anything when you get it done?
Yeah, I'll build a wooden stand to put them on, and then I'll put a few staples in there to hold the cages on to make sure they're stable. And other than that, that's all I do. I just put a stand on there just to hold them up off the ground.
Okay, cool. How long does it take to make a cage?
If you can stay with it all day, probably a day to make these 3 this size. But if you only do it an hour or 2 a day, then it's going to take you a little bit longer.
Okay, and how many rabbits did you say you could put in one this size?
3. I'm making 3 cages out of this one big one.
Awesome.
So you'll have basically 2 partitions, but 3 cages.
What you doing now, Bob?
I'm cutting out for the dividers and the ends. And once I get that all hooked in, then I'll put the top on. Okie dokie.
Wow, you got that side done already?
Yeah, I've got all the dividers in but this end, but I'm gonna have to trim it because, like I said, there ain't none of them the same length. All the dividers in that end are on, so now we just gotta lay it up and start clipping them together. Just the top. Now, come down here. Pick your feet.
Yeah.
Not that, just this. Don't pull them up, just.
first petition now. Or I should say the first cage. I'm in jail.
Well, if we're gonna do meat, New Zealand's, Californians are pretty good, especially for farms. Now Flemish Giants, cage would be big enough. Them suckers get big.
Yeah, I don't think it would balance out the size of the rabbit versus the amount of food that they would eat in their growing time. Do you?
No. So, I guess New Zealand, Californians, that's about the right size for a little farmstead.
Maybe silver fox.
I mean, they're good too. It's just what everybody's got their own preference.
I wonder if there's a difference in the flavor of the meat.
Not that I can remember.
Guys, you missed it. Tommy was walking down toward where I was on this hay wagon. Well, I thought we were both going to end up on the barn floor or tackling Bob. Thankfully, he backed up right real quick before we took a tumble. Would have been hilarious if we'd had the camera on, wouldn't it?
Yep.
I'm guessing we'll probably start off with 3, maybe 4 does and a buck.
At least 2 does in a buck. Maybe 3 does. Still gotta have a little room for the kids or babies when they get too big to be in with the mother.
Yeah.
Hey folks, we're back again. I gotta trim this off because all these are just a little bit different in length and width. No matter if you cut them right or not, you get it width one way right, but the other way is wrong. And they're supposed to be the same. And half the time you match them up, they don't match. You gotta bend the wire a little bit to get the clips in. So I'm gonna have to trim this to make it even before I put that last piece on top, and it stiffens the whole cage up. That's 3 off, and this is 2 off.
That is totally ridiculous since you start out on the opposite side with everything even and you don't skip holes going up through there.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the center or lay on?
It don't matter. I mean, you can put it in the center if you want to.
Doesn't matter to me.
It's just you need to wait to help hold it.
That just goes to show you guys, you can't believe everything you read on a package. This wire, none of the rolls have been exact, have they, Bob?
Nope. Good, man.
That's why we never throw away scrap wood. We always use it for other projects.
Yeah.
And it's putting the clip in the holder and clipping it again and again and again. Do you have any idea about how many hours that you have put in this already?
No, I don't know.
After you get this side on, we've got to do the top, right?
We gotta flop it over. We'll raise this up and do it. Just do that other side.
And then put the doors and build the stand. And then we're ready for rabbits.
Yeah.
Cool. Really be excited to get rabbits added to our farm. And they are meat rabbits, or will be meat rabbits, that we're planning on getting. We all like rabbit, and then I sure need the manure to go in my compost for my garden.
Man, crack me in the head. How far are we to go?
Another 12 inches. Probably a couple.
You wanna hold that end down? Can you pull it as you do?
Maybe. That's so pokey. One, two, three, 4, 5 more sections. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was this humongous Taj Mahal rabbit hutch. That's been extremely uncooperative.
Can you give me a needle nose?
See why rabbit hutches are so expensive whenever you see them for sale in stores and on Craigslist.
Yep.
Would you advise someone to go ahead and buy a pre-made one as long as it's in good condition? Or would you advise somebody building their own?
Well, it just depends on how you want to build it.
Okay, if I were the one building the rabbit cages and not you.
If you built your frame out of wood and then went corner for corner and stapled them down, then it wouldn't be bad. But if you're doing it with the clips and stuff like that, that's up to everybody, how they want to do it.
And you're doing it with the clips, why?
It's the way I learned it growing up as a kid. There ain't no really rhyme or reason, that's just what I learned from my dad.
Is there let me pull it out some. Is there less chance of the rabbits chewing on the cage?
If it's wire, rabbits will chew on wood.
Right.
And if it's wire, they can't chew on nothing, except their nesting boxes. Unless you get the metal ones from like Tractor Supply or something like that, whoever's selling metal. If you get metal, they can't chew on them either. But if you put the nesting boxes in too early, they'll pee and poop in them, and then you gotta change it right before they start getting ready to pull the fur out.
Well, we've been looking for nesting boxes. We found some small wooden ones, but as of yet, we've not found any of the metal ones.
Mm-mm.
You said rabbits chew on wood, and if it's a lot of wood in the cage, it looks like there'd be a lot of damage pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Well, depends on your rabbits too. If you give them a lot of green stuff, they don't chew as much as if you just feed them plain pellets.
Okay. I've got a lot to learn about rabbits.
At least that's been my experience. I mean,
Can't believe how much that's firmed up since you flipped it over and getting the clips in there. That's really made a huge difference.
well, you don't have to put you don't have to.
Only for a few minutes, and you've made all kinds of progress, Bob. Have you got all the clips on other than that one side that you're on?
No, I got to do all the partitions.
Okay.
Okay, while you've been gone, I finished up the cage, I mounted the water and the feeders. And I cut the doors out, but they ain't the right size yet. I've got to cut some off of it, and then I'll mount the doors. I'm making them big enough to where I can get in and reach the back of the cage for a rabbit when I'm trying to catch it. Right now, all it is cutting doors to size.
So how much have you got done now?
I've got that cage complete. You gotta put this door on, then cut this one out, and then do the other door. And the cages are done.
Okay, so you attach that screen on there before you cut out for the door
Yeah, so
opening?
it's easy to look and make sure you know how big you're cutting your door
Oh,
on the
okay,
inside.
that makes sense.
I mean, you don't have to, but it holds it in place that way.
That's Bobby's way. Right?
Yep. Now, on the doors, I put a clip on every wire. Make it like a big hinge. You don't have to, but I do.
And then these are really tall doors. So you've put a clip on the top and the bottom of them.
I put a clip all the way down where it hinges. Then I just mounted the door latches.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the door latches, the clip on there.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, like I said before, everybody's got their own little way of doing things. None of them's wrong if it's the way you want it.
As long as it keeps the rabbits safe, then it's right.
Yeah, but it's just the way I do it. Like I said, my dad Showed me how to build cages when I was a kid. Now, we didn't make them near this big, but we didn't have, the breeder rabbit wasn't as big as what we're getting. And I made the door bigger so I can actually get in all the way in the cage so I can catch the rabbit when I want to. Especially if you got a buck and you're breeding, you want to take it out. So, or if they have babies, that way I can reach all the way to the back of the cage and catch the babies. Hey everybody, I went ahead and pre-clipped a lot of this so it don't see the mundane stuff of just clipping. So what I did, you pre-measure, well, some people like a little bit more overhang than others between the door and the cage. I went ahead and pre-clipped what I like. It gives me a bigger entrance to get into where I can get the rabbits. But I'll go ahead and finish cutting this, that way you see. And there's your door opening. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of a 3D thing when you start looking at everything, and it makes, get your eyes to cross. So sometimes you can clip a little wrong.
Back for the stand. What you doing, Bo?
Putting the frame together. And the stand's done. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, we've set the rabbit cage on the frame. I'm gonna put a few staples on the wire in the frame. That way it's secure to the frame and don't matter if you move it or not. That way the cage don't rock and tip and whatever, you can move it without it bothering you. The last staple. Now, all we gotta do is get rabbits.
Awesome. That is absolutely fantastic. I am so glad to be at this point.